Hi, I'm Dr. Abby Bleistein with Healthful Life MD, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about boundary setting today. Some of my patients, that as they're starting their journey towards health, find that some people in their life aren't always helpful. Sometimes people mean to be helpful, and they're really not. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about setting boundaries with people that you love around consumption, around making healthy lifestyle changes. So one of the things that I hear from patients oftentimes is that as they start their healthy journey, people will comment on what they're eating. And so they'll try and be helpful, but like saying things like, oh, should you really be eating that? Maybe you don't want to eat that. Oftentimes it could be a spouse at home, or, friends or other family. So setting a boundary with them can be set up with really being very specific about what it is that's not supportive for you and how they can be helpful. I call it the hamburger and bun conversation. And we start with a bun or something positive where we say, I understand that you care about my health and you want me to be healthy. And then we join it with what's happening and how it's making you feel. And so rather than saying but and discounting that initial statement, then we can say and. So we say, and when you say things or comment about my food or about my appearance or those kinds of things, that's not helpful for me. And it makes me feel ashamed or makes me feel down or frustrated or lonely. So you can describe, how is that making you feel? What is the behavior? How is it making you feel? And finally, you can end up then with what you would like. And a lot of my patients tell me, oh, I never thought to tell people what I actually would like instead. So a really important part of the conversation is to say, what I would like is for you to not make comments about what I'm eating. I know it's going to work for me, and it's not helpful when you make those comments. Or you might say something like, what I would like is for you not to bring some of those trigger foods into the house. What I would like is for you not to bring potato chips in the house, because that makes it much harder for me to make these kinds of changes. Maybe you could have those things when you're out and about, or you could keep them in your office space or something like that, so that so that you don't get exposed to it. So again, when we're setting these kinds of boundaries with people, we start out with a positive, what they're doing right. We link it with and then we tell them what our feelings are, what the behavior is, how it's making us feel. And finally, we end up with, what it is that we would like. So here's an example. So I understand that that you care about me, and I really appreciate how much care you have about my health and my well-being. And when you comment about the food that I'm eating, it really makes me feel ashamed and frustrated with my progress. What I would like is for you to not comment about what I'm eating and be supportive in other ways. For example, not bringing some of my trigger foods in the house. So that's kind of how that conversation might go. And that's a way to ask for what you need and get the support that you need. So always assume the best from people, but really having these direct conversations can be helpful.